Hi, how are ya?
Good.
Is this our third show?
Third episode
Third episode
for Grim Geography
from Geography, which covers all of the U.S.
and Canada
and Canada.
and overseas. I found a couple overseas ones I'm interested in.
Oh, now that we're talking about Canada, there's definitely one in Canada that that Navy or that guy who was in charge of the Royal Air Force or something like that that was raping and murdering people
Oh yeah, we'll
and
definitely do.
yeah, and he actually, once he was confronted, he actually confessed.
Yes, I remember this one.
Yeah, he had two homes. His wife knew nothing about it. Uh, he was breaking in, stealing underwear. He took under pictures of him in the underwear.
Yes.
He was uh like this well-respected
Yep.
guy, and it was a crazy one.
Yes, hold on. Yes, I know which one you're talking about.
So we'll definitely have to cover that one.
Yes. So today we are covering a pretty famous case. Actually, it's not really as famous anymore due to the age, and I think
Yeah,
a lot of people kind of,
don't know where it came from.
yeah. So we're talking about Amber Hagerman. She is she was the 9-year-old girl. She disappeared in Arlington, Texas, and she inspired the Amber Alert system, which
Yes,
is,
everybody, if you don't know what the Amber Alert system is, it's that big billboard over the freeway that tells you, or it comes up on your phone and tells
with
you.
that noise that scares everybody.
Yes, it tells you that there is a missing, endangered child.
Yes.
Now, it can be uh, any kind of one. It can be a
No,
parent.
we're going back to 1996,
Yes.
Arlington, Texas.
Okay.
She disappeared on January 13th, 1996. She was grabbed right off her bike, kicking and screaming.
Yes.
Her and her little brother had been at their grandparents, riding around.
Yes. But back then, that was perfectly fine.
Hmm. Yeah, she was with her 5-year-old brother, and they had been riding around the block, which they had gotten okayed from their grandparents. They stopped at a abandoned parking lot.
Yes.
I believe it was a Winn Dixie.
I don't remember.
It was a Winn Dixie, I think. And a Winn Dixie, if you don't know, it's a grocery store chain.
Yes.
Back east. Well, back east, central, Midwest.
Yes.
We just don't have them here. So yeah, it's an abandoned Winn Dixie. Other decided to go home, and Amber had told him that she would be there momentarily. She wanted to just ride around, and apparently this a parking lot was very popular with kids because it had like this really cool like ramp that a lot of them used uh to like ride up and down.
Yes.
She abduction took place broad daylight.
Now,
Uh,
were there any witnesses?
there was one, and I will get into that
Okay.
one. So broad daylight, that was at 3:18 local time, so that is central. And so Amber and Ricky, that's his name, that's her younger brother's name, had left the house at 3:10 p.m.
Yes.
So it took just 8 minutes for this abduction to happen. So the guy, it was a man, was described as either white or Hispanic. All we know is that he was not black,
Yes.
not African American descent, and that was actually noted in the missing report, which shouldn't surprise anyone considering this is Texas we're talking about. 4 days after her disappearance, Amber's body was found in a drainage ditch with cuts including to her throat. And so, something to know about this case has never been solved. And I know we've been doing a lot of unsolved cases lately. I promise there
Yeah,
are
we're
other
gonna do
ones.
solved ones.
This case has remained unsolved for 28 years now,
And
almost actually 29,
and
really.
we talk about this, that uh, how can these things, do they just stop after one, or do they go to jail? Do they die?
Well,
We don't
yeah,
know.
and there's quite a few theories about this one that I will definitely get into.
Okay.
So her body was spotted by a man who was out walking his dog, and at the it was she was found behind the Forest Ridge apartment complex.
Okay.
So this is 6 miles from where she was abducted. She was found 6 miles away from where she was taken.
Okay.
So you have Dee Anderson, a spokesman for the Tarrant uh, County Police, said at the time that maintenance workers had been near the creek hours earlier, but Amber's body was not found.
Okay.
So it was believed that her body moved there during a rainstorm, and that was according to the New York Times, and
Okay.
that she had been alive for 48 hours after her kidnapping. And that's a
Okay.
very big deal. It's the fact that,
That she was kept alive.
yeah,
Okay.
but it took 4 days for her body to be found.
Okay. So she could have been alive for 2 days and then dumped, and then it took them 2 days to find it.
Yes, because so she was dumped in a drainage, so apparently there had been a rainstorm during
Okay.
those 4 days, so they believe her body had been carried further down. So
Okay.
it's entirely possible that this was not the original dump site.
Okay. So she could have been upstream,
Hmm.
and it brought her down.
Yeah,
Okay.
considering that in the location that her body was found, workers had been there just hours before.
Okay.
So it's also entirely possible that he could have been surveilling the guy could have also been surveilling the area
Yes.
and
And
dumped
then
her.
dumped her.
So there's possibilities. Anderson did say that we will find the person who did this. We never want another little girl, another family to go through what this family has been through. So the new sergeant who ended up taking over, his name was Sergeant Gilden. He actually described the area. So this is years later. Some of this information came years later because a lot of this was not released, I think, until the second or third anniversary of her murder.
Okay.
So Sergeant Gilden described the area where Amber was found as very secluded.
Okay.
He said we do believe you'd have to be somewhat familiar with that area to know where that creek is. Was there a connection with that location, and was it someone who had a reason for turning back to the center of town? So something to note is that this Winn-Dixie was in the dead center of town.
Okay.
So it kind of described as they lived in like a neighborhood that was like off one of the main roads.
Okay.
But so she was taken from the center of town in broad daylight. And you can't tell me that there was only one witness. Um, he said that the thought has always been that the easiest way to get out of the area would have been to go to Highway 360. So some of the theories were because if he is Hispanic, and he was local to the area, one of the big theories is that because they're in Arlington, Texas, that he fled over the border because he was described again as non-black, but then it was later kind of like, oh, he was more Hispanic because he was not fully white.
Yeah.
So it's entirely possible that he had connections over the border
Yeah. To Mexico
to
or so.
Mexico.
Okay.
So her mother described Amber as an innocent and sweet little girl who loved being like a little mommy to her younger brother Ricky. She was a Girl Scout who loved riding Barbies, the Disney Princess Pocahontas,
Oh.
and her pink bike.
Yes. I don't know if you've ever seen the reenactment. They show the pink bike with the on the side of the road with the wheels moving, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not, it's very sad.
Mm-hmm. Her third grade classmates at Berry Elementary in Arlington describe her as pretty and nice.
Yes.
These are only third graders.
Well, what would you describe her as? A nasty little girl?
Depends on who you ask. I don't know. I could describe quite a few people in school as that way. I also just didn't like people.
Yes.
So interesting enough, months before her abduction, Amber, Ricky, and her mom, because her mom was a single mother, her and her father, her and her husband, I want to say had been recently divorced, or it was kind of like a year. I was not exactly positive on that timeline, but she was a single mom working toward her GED. And if you don't know what GED is, it is another form of high school completion
Yeah.
here in the United States.
Yeah. It's like,
so you can go to college.
yeah. So what it is you can get a high school diploma by finishing, high
The
school.
traditional way.
Yeah, but let's just say you drop out or something happens or you fail, you can take an equivalency test, which is a GED, which will give you a GED, which is good as a high school diploma.
And I think a lot of people who do online school turn towards a GED more
Yes.
than a
But from what
traditional.
I understand, it's not that easy.
It's not.
So I
I
graduated from high school when I was 15, but I took classes, I skipped a grade, I did a bunch of other things. But in order for me to get out of high school early, I had to take an equivalency test. Uh, so I used that instead of my credits.
Mhm.
So there's ways around it, but I've heard the GED is not easy.
No, I have a couple friends who took the GED, and they said it was extremely difficult, but high school was even worse for them.
Yeah. So
So they had been interviewed by WFAA TV. So it's a news channel.
okay.
About for a special that focused on welfare reform.
Okay.
In the piece, Amber showed off her scrapbook, which included awards for good grades and attendance, and her mom said that Amber loved school.
Okay.
So, Arlene,
And she's a little young to run away.
yeah, she's 9,
Yeah.
who was very attached to her little brother, so I can't imagine her
Her running away.
and leaving him.
You know.
So, Arlington Police Sergeant Grant Gilden said Amber was just a very sweet, innocent child, and that's the memory we got to hold on to as we investigate. That this is someone who was doing something as innocent as riding a bicycle, and evil found her that day.
Okay.
So there was a single witness to the abduction.
Okay.
So he witnessed this through the fence in his backyard. He was in his backyard and watched this through the fence. So this is kind of where I get very irritated, but I also kind of understand why people wouldn't step up. This Winn-Dixie was back to a laundromat. There was a laundromat across the street where it was packed. But from what I kind of have understood about it is that it was a laundromat that was very much um used by people of who were Hispanic, Spanish speaking. It was a refugee for a lot of people who crossed the border
Ooh, okay.
illegally, even though that they were trying to make a better life. So I can kind of understand why no one would step forward
Yes.
because they don't want
Well, back in 96,
96.
it wasn't like it is today where ICE will come down and get you, but people are still afraid. No, in 96, it wasn't like this.
I would still be afraid because it's Arlington, Texas.
Yes, I would still be scared.
Because it's Texas.
Yes.
And also,
And they could have known the person.
uh-huh.
And they could have been as scared of them.
Mm-hmm. So this witness, his name is Jimmy Kevel. He was the only person to come forward. He claimed to have seen the abduction from his backyard, telling police that a 1980s or 1990s single cab black truck had been parked earlier at a nearby laundromat. The assailant allegedly drove up in the truck, kidnapped Amber, and traveled away from Highway 360.
Okay.
In January 2016, he spoke to CBS Dallas Fort Worth, saying, "I saw Amber riding up and down. She was by herself. I saw this black pickup. He pulled up, jumped out, and grabbed her. When she screamed, I figured the police ought to know about it, so I called them." So my question is, so mind you, Kevel did die in May 2016.
Yes.
But my question is, if he was witnessing this, why didn't he yell? Why didn't he
I
yell?
w-
Why didn't he say something to distract?
Back then they didn't have video cameras.
But
So
but back then, if you saw someone, you're in your backyard and you heard a little girl scream, and you saw them riding up and down, I guarantee you, he knew, if he was that close, he knew her grandparents. He probably knew that family.
yes.
So even if you don't know them, if you see a kid getting grabbed, screaming off of a bike, why wouldn't you yell? Why wouldn't you be like, "Hey, you"? Why wouldn't you
Yeah.
yell?
He came forward, so he couldn't have had any immigration problems.
No, and but why wouldn't you yell and make them aware that
That they've been seen.
that they've been seen?
I don't know. We were raised differently to get involved and stuff. I, you know, the only way I wouldn't want my kids to get involved if their safety was at jeopardy.
Well,
But take my word for it. If I saw something, I would jump on them.
but here's the thing: he was in his backyard. He did not. There was no weapon. He could have yelled, and he probably could have made it back into his house pretty quickly.
Yeah, I would have definitely.
I just don't understand why he never.
It's too bad he's not alive, so we could ask him.
Yeah, he died in 2016.
Yeah, was he old?
Um, I think he was like 86 when he died.
Okay, so he was 50 when this happened.
Yeah, and I think he was military, and I think he was military and everything too.
That's crazy.
So,
That's absolutely crazy.
um,
Well, give us your opinion on that. We definitely want to know what you think about that. If you would get involved, or if you're afraid, or do you think that him just calling the police was enough?
yeah, it's a
I would
tricky.
never forgive myself if I didn't get involved,
I don't think I could either. So,
especially since she ended up dead.
yeah. So at a press conference in 2021, Sergeant Ben Lopez, who was a rookie on the Arlington police force when Amber was disappeared, saying that police knew there may have been undocumented residents at the laundromat who were afraid to come forward, but he said if there is a witness or witnesses who have that concern, we are not interested at all in pursuing any kind of deportation.
Yeah. A lot of you see a lot of people that say, please come forward. We're not ICE. Just tell us what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But they're afraid. I mean, in their countries, a lot of times the police are
The bad guys.
corrupt.
They're the bad guys.
They're the bad guys. I wouldn't trust it, especially if you're here and you've been harassed and stuff like that.
So that is sadly kind of all we know about what happened to Amber.
That's crazy.
So after Amber's murder, a local Texas mother named Diana Simone kept thinking about how Amber disappeared without a trace. She, like many others in the community, had wanted to help look for Amber, but none of them had no idea where to start. She said, she stated, I want to say it was to a newspaper or when they were interviewing her, I said, I can't get over this child. There has to be something that we can do.
Yes.
There were weather, and so she looked at it as there are weather and civil defense alerts. So like here in Washington, we get traffic alerts, we get weather alerts. We just got one about wildfire a couple months ago.
Yes.
We get tsunami warnings. You get all of these here.
Yeah.
Saying that, so why
the tsunami warnings are only when there's huge earthquakes off Russia or Alaska. We don't get them very often. Don't think the Washington is dangerous.
No, no, I keep people away. We already
Oh
have too
yeah.
many people
Okay.
here.
So we always tell this secret. People that talk about how it's rainy here. From May to October, it is absolutely beautiful here. But don't tell anybody because we don't want them moving here. It is absolutely incredible. And sometimes it's April through October.
Hmm.
It is absolutely beautiful here. So just don't tell anybody because we don't want you moving here.
So Simone uh, said, "Why can't we do something like this for children?"
Yes.
Simone called a local radio station with an idea for an emergency system. The concept was that a 911 call was placed, radio stations would immediately interrupt programming to broadcast the alert. So, 14 days after Amber's abduction, Simone wrote a letter to the station requesting that if the alert system got put into place, it should be known as Amber's plan. So that's what it was originally known as Amber's plan, and I will get into
Where
how.
it got changed
Uh
into
huh.
Amber's Alert.
So Dallas Fort Worth broadcasters and local police then teamed up to develop an early warning system because all of them agreed with it, saying
Yes.
that if we had more of a notice, if there's a way to immediately get it out around the city,
Yeah, they
then
might have seen the truck somewhere.
and Amber might still be alive.
Yes.
So the system officially named Amber Alert. It's so Amber is stated as America's Missing Broadcast Emergency Response.
Yes. It wasn't just after her name, but it was.
So it began development in 1996. It was implemented on July 5th, 1997, with the first success story on November 10th, 1998, in Nevada.
Yes.
So there is
There's a
actually
lot of children that have been saved by this.
we're talking I will get to that. So because of Amber's Alert, many cities went on to develop other alerts. So, but the thing to know, I didn't kind of write it down, is that alerts um is actually to do an Amber Alert, there's actually a lot of criteria that has to be met, which I don't necessarily agree with because if it's a child, it should automatically. But I also understand they don't want people crying wolf.
Yes. I mean, technically, you don't want a parent that says, "Oh, my kid is missing,"
And they're
and when
just
they're really not,
so,
calling in an Amber Alert. Like they're in the middle of a custody battle, and
which
the
is usually
other
actually what the Amber
yeah,
Alerts
what the
are.
other parent actually has custody, and they're saying, "No, I have custody."
That's actually a big part of the Amber Alerts. It's not even by like strange people kidnapping. It's usually a custodial
Parent,
kidnapping.
yes, a
So
non-custodial parent.
actually, we've seen custodial parents also kidnap them if they've have
Yeah, they don't want to give visitation to the
mhm.
other one.
So the decision to so the system is used in the most serious child abduction cases. They aim to instantly galvanize the community to assist in the search for safe and recovery of a missing child. There have been acts and that have affected and shaped the alert system to what it is today.
Yes,
The alerts are first issued by law enforcement to broadcasters and state national transportation officials. The NCMEC, which is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, is then notified, and they redistribute the alert to secondary distributors, which include radio, television, and road signs. As of 2013, messages are sent to phones through the Wireless Emergency Alerts program. So that is that very loud sound
sound that you get on your phone.
that scares you at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yes,
And alerts are also now shared on social media. They teamed up with Facebook and like Google to and Twitter at
yes,
the time, now X, which that's a whole thing I'm not going to get into. So according to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, as of October 31st, 2024, they have saved at least 1,221 children in the United States alone.
isn't that crazy?
So, as I was saying, um, the decision to declare an Amber Alert, because I didn't write this down. I don't know why. Decision to declare an Amber Alert is made by each police organization. In many cases, it's actually state police or highway patrol that are investigating the abduction, which I actually
Yes.
didn't know that. That's
No.
mostly
We
state.
always thought that it was, the local and then FBI.
Mm-hmm. So, public information, as people know, in an Amber Alert usually includes the name and description of the abductee, a description of the suspected abductor, and a description and license plate number of the abductor's vehicle if
Vehicle.
available. So to avoid both false alarms and having alerts ignored as a wolf cry, because that was actually a big debate about the Amber Alert, is that they actually debated it, that they didn't want to do it because they were worried about the whole crying wolf.
Uh-huh.
So the criteria for issuing an Amber Alert are actually extremely strict. Each state's or province Amber Alert plan sets its own criteria for activation, meaning that there are differences between alerting agencies as to which incidents are considered to justify the use of the system. However, the U.S. Department of Justice issues the following guidance,
Okay.
which most states are said to adhere closely to. So, 1. Law enforcement must confirm that an abduction has taken place.
Okay.
2. The child must be at risk of serious injury or death. 3. There must be sufficient description information of the child, captor, or captor's vehicle to issue the alert. And the last one, number 4, child must be under 18 years of age.
Yeah.
So many law enforcement agencies have not used number 2 as a criteria, resulting in many parental abductions triggering an Amber Alert. Where the child is not known or assumed to be at risk of serious injury or death. So in 2013, West Virginia passed Schuyler's Law. So if you guys don't know that case, it was Schuyler Niece.
It's where
she was
Peyton went to college in that town.
Schuyler Niece in 2016, 2015.
I think so.
Well, oh wait, sorry, 2013. So yeah, back then, she was a 15-year-old who snuck out to go hang out with her friends. They were quote unquote supposed to be driving around hanging out. It was like smoking pot.
I don't know if they would even do that.
They didn't. Her two friends took her to an area and then killed her, stabbed her,
yeah,
and killed her.
Her two friends.
Her two best friends. One of her childhood best friends and then a new friend. Taking and stabbed her. And so when her parents called the police
said, "Are you sure she didn't run away?"
She didn't run away, because that's a big issue, is that what stops Amber Alerts from initially going out, especially for teenagers, is the whole they ran away.
Yes.
So,
and she had never run away. She didn't have problems. She didn't anything.
So in 2013, they passed Schuyler's Law to eliminate number 1 as a criteria for triggering an Amber Alert.
Yes.
So, and then, so the Royal Canadian Mounted Police's requirements in Canada are nearly identical to the above list, with the exception that the RCMP is notified. One organization must notify the other if there is a reason to suspect that the border may be crossed.
Yes.
So when investigators believe that a child is in danger of being taken across the border to either Canada or Mexico, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, United States Border Patrol, and the Canada Border Service Agency are notified and are expected to search every car coming through a border checkpoint.
Can you imagine that?
If the child is suspected to be taken to Canada, a Canadian Amber Alert can also be issued, and a pursuit by Canadian authorities usually follows.
That's crazy.
So, because of that, there have been similar alerts made. So, to kind of expand beyond children. So in 2012, California created the Silver Alert for missing elderly people, followed by the Feather Alert, which is for missing Indigenous people in 2022. And then the Ebony Alert, which I think I mentioned these back when we would discuss Brandon Swanson.
Yes, I believe so.
For missing Black children and young women. And since 2008, this should surprise absolutely nobody, Texas has implemented the blue alert for suspected cases of serious injury to police officers.
Yes.
So in Washington, we use Amber Alerts. We have an Amber Alert, a missing Indigenous persons alert, Silver Alert, and then an endangered missing persons advisory. So that one is for it's for persons of any age who is missing and in danger because of age, physical or mental health, severe weather conditions, and not able to return to safety without assistance. So basically, this one, the missing persons advisory, is for everyone who basically is not covered by the Amber Alert, the Indigenous, or the Silver Alert.
Yes.
Any questions so far?
No, I just there's so many different. There's Code Adam. There's so many different.
So that
ones.
doesn't even include like Georgia and Missouri and all these other places that have different names for the Amber Alert.
Yes, there are. Not everybody calls it the Amber Alert. Most states do though.
And so what they've done is that a lot of them have done it. So kind of like Skylar's Law, they've used almost all the states have renamed it an Amber Alert, and then took the namesake of another child who kind of shaped it in that state and kind of folded it into the Amber Alert.
Yes.
So in the 3 decades since Amber's abduction, police have received over 7,000 tips.
That's crazy.
Gildan has said they continue to have leads and several that they continue to investigate extensively as possible suspects. So Gildan stated, a lot of people will refer to Amber's case as a cold case, but for the Arlington Police Department, it has never been listed as a cold case because we've never gone 180 days without having some lead come in.
That's crazy.
So for most places to be marked as a cold case, 180 days have to have passed with no leads, no forensics, no labs, nothing. And that's usually the criteria for a cold case, which I actually didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
So he believes that the killer is still alive.
That's okay. So if that was okay, so what is that? 40?
So
30 years ago.
Well, so January 1996, I am 28. I was born November 1996.
Okay, so roughly 30 years ago. So if the guy was 25, that makes him 55. If he was 30, that makes him 60. So it's a good shot he's still alive. Mm-hmm. Unless he's already in prison or he died.
Or he died.
I mean, back then, I don't know if they had DNA because he was in a drainage.
We'll get into that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
And they're finding all these cold cases or these old ones through genealogy and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. So, don't spit in a tube unless you want to be caught.
Yeah, and actually, you should try to stop your family too, because that's actually how they're connecting it. Usually, it's through it's through like my generation because we're trying to find our ancestors.
Yes. So if you got an idea that somebody in your family is a killer, don't do it.
Unless you don't like them.
Yeah.
Then I say go for it.
Yeah.
So please remain hopeful that recent advancements, in DNA testing, which have been used on evidence collected in Amber's case.
Yeah. Golden State Killer is who I can say right now.
Didn't they? And so they're saying so they do have DNA. They do have DNA from Amber's.
Oh.
So they do have DNA from her case. New tips from the public will help solve the case. He says that Gildan says he remains optimistic that this case will be solved. He said, I do believe that there's definitely someone out there who has the answers that we're looking for and can help lead us in the right direction. So that's why we continue to work on it. Our goal has always remained the same, and that's to catch who did this and be able to prosecute them.
Like I said, I don't know how one person can kill a little girl and not do it again, or just stop, or they had done it many times before and they just didn't link them. I don't know how that can happen.
I mean,
unless they end up in jail or they're dead.
Or we have a Ridgway situation where they fell in love, met the love of their life, had a child, and just quit cold turkey. I don't believe it.
I don't believe it either.
So there have been several theories thrown out around the year over the years. Would you like to hear some?
Sure.
So one of the theories was about the film crew from the welfare reform special. So, because a lot of people think that Amber, because the way it happened, a lot of people think they stalked the family and like watched them. They that's what a lot of people think. And I think that maybe they saw her on this special, or maybe they saw her coming home from school.
Okay.
So so each member of the crew was thoroughly checked out because the police had the same idea. They
Okay.
were thoroughly checked out and ruled out relatively quickly.
Okay.
So another that was entertained for a little bit was dismissed, had to do with her dad and his friend that he lived with. So in the divorce, he was living with somebody who her dad's friend. So
Does
her dad's friend, so his work vehicle was a black truck. But
But why would she scream if she knew him?
what's to say she knew him?
Oh, that's true.
At 9 years old, I couldn't remember, because even if she only came in contact with him once or twice, at 9 years old, I couldn't tell you everybody. Still can't tell you everybody who I came in contact to at 9 years old.
Yeah,
I
and
couldn't
if
tell
he
you every member.
grabbed you,
I
you'd
couldn't tell you
scream.
every member of our writing group. I couldn't do any of that.
Yeah.
So
They could remember you.
yeah, that's true. I mean, I did slam a girl's finger in the trailer door, so
Yeah.
I also always had a broken tailpipe on my quad.
Oh, yeah. You piss off the people.
I remember that. So, but what ruled him out was that his work vehicle had a GPS on it,
Oh,
and it showed him to be 45 minutes away
back then in '96, it had a GPS.
on his work truck. Yeah.
Oh my God. I didn't even know they had GPS back then.
So the most popular theory, and I actually kind of have to give him credit for, and I actually have to entertain a little bit, because um it is actually possible. A lot of people do not agree with this one, saying that it's stupid, and also like,
Okay.
why would you do it? But hear me out.
Okay.
They could get away with doing this because if there's undocumented residents at that laundromat and he hypothetically went over the border to Mexico, he could have done this. So um a lot of people think the guy was an employee of the laundromat.
Oh, yeah.
It was due to the person potentially being of Hispanic origin, and the laundromat did house immigrants. They would know the area. They would know that secluded area. But what a lot of people don't agree with is, why would he grab her in the middle of town in
Yes.
broad daylight?
Have you
But
ever checked out the guy that reported it?
I don't think they ever considered him to be a suspect.
That would be interesting.
So I have to give it to them, because here's the thing. He also could have seen Amber around the neighborhood. He could have seen her riding her bike, and he also could have already made that decision to be going back to Mexico.
Yes.
So I kind of have to give this to them. But it's also like, why would he do this in front of the place he worked? But if it housed immigrants.
Yes. But the thing is, it, according to the thing, he kept her alive for 48 hours before he dumped the body. Where would he have hidden?
He could have known an abandoned house in the area. He could have hidden in the abandoned Winn-Dixie,
Yes. He
because
could
they
have.
never found where she was actually killed.
Yes.
So he could have known an abandoned area. He could have had a house nearby.
Yes, he could have.
He could have been staying at his mom's house, at his friend's house. There's a lot of possibilities.
Yes, there is.
So, what do you think? I'm just curious.
I don't.
I
You know,
I do not think it was random. I do think that
I
I think they've
I
seen
think
Amber
maybe
around.
I the thing is they
And
had to
I
wait till the kids were separated. How did they know that is it Ricky?
Ricky.
Ricky would leave Amber there. Were they planning on taking both kids or they just took
Well,
the one
yeah,
kid?
that's the big question. So, her mom,
Was she
so
seeing anybody?
they don't believe so. No.
Okay.
So her mom, so Ricky and her mom both have said that they still keep in contact with the police and they still get updates. Her mom actually has chosen never to upgrade to a smartphone because she never wants to receive the Amber Alerts.
That's interesting.
So I I think it was someone
That they knew?
I think it was someone who was local to that area because it's the fact that that spot it was so secluded. It has to be someone very local. It could have been. I think it might have been an employee because I think it had to be someone in that immediate area.
Yeah.
And it is
I
just kind of
mean,
one that
if
defies the whole thing because they always said that if you're murdered or you're kidnapped, 9 times out of 10, it's they know the person.
well, also I saw something on TV about the perfect murder. And the guy said the only reason people get caught for murder is because they tell somebody.
They open their mouths.
They open their mouths. If you keep your mouth shut, nobody's going to find you. Now, with the age of DNA, that is probably wrong.
But
But
also,
I'm
if
just
you
saying,
don't have any, if you haven't had run in with law enforcement, you haven't had anything, any reason, especially now in like CODIS.
yes. But I thought I was blown away by that. But they're right. If you don't talk about it, them finding you is very minute
Hmm.
because it's when people say, "Oh, blah 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 blah," that they get caught.
But also, if he is Hispanic, because we're operating on what they said.
Yeah, that he's Hispanic. We're not saying for sure he is. He
But
could have been white.
if he fled over the border,
Yes,
he can talk about it in Mexico because no one's gonna care.
yes,
But also, can we just say that if he actually was white and they were operating on the assumption that he was of Hispanic origin,
yeah.
that guy is kind of safe.
He
Because
is.
he could have left and gone to like Arizona or any of the other places, especially if.
Don't let your family do DNA testing. We would, but you
But
know,
it's just it's a very and so I bring up this case because a lot of people don't remember this case. They don't know the origins of the Amber Alert because
yes,
this case isn't really talked about outside of Arlington.
yes, and it affected a lot of lives.
Hmm.
Because Amber is huge. I mean, it's a huge part
And
of our daily life.
and it's even sadder that the person who inspired this, her case is still unsolved.
Yes, it is. But I mean, I it blows me away. You know,
What blows me away is that there's so little information on this case.
yes. I don't know if there were fingerprints on the bike. I
Well,
don't
they said
know.
that there is evidence on her. I I
People
have a question.
people put other people in water thinking the DNA gets washed away, and I'm here to tell you people that that doesn't happen. It may wash some of the evidence away, but it doesn't wash all of it away.
Was Amber sexually assaulted?
I don't know. That's what I was just about to ask you. That's kind of scary to think because she was only 9 years
I'm
old.
sorry, an 8-year-old was sexually mauled.
What?
An 8-year-old was sexually mauled.
Yes, we've read some recent ones that just absolutely were.
If you are curious, go to Rainy City Murders and you can listen to the newest episode.
Yes.
It's all about Anne Marie Burr. And that's a very interesting case.
Yes, it was. It definitely was interesting. I've never heard of an 8-year-old being sexually mauled.
And no joke, it was described as sexually mauled.
Mauled. Yes. We just repeated exactly what we were told. So,
Yes. So, a medical autopsy did determine that Amber was sexually assaulted before her murder.
so that's probably where they got the
Mm-hmm.
DNA, because I don't know if the DNA on the outside would have washed away.
So, they're saying that there is still little DNA, even though she had been in the water for some time. Most of the evidence did wash away, but there was
Yes.
still in trace amounts.
Yeah. And the bad thing, what I'm assuming most people know about DNA is if it is every time they do DNA, they lose a little bit of the DNA. So they have to test it wisely. So,
But I'm curious about what you guys think.
oh, I definitely am. We're gonna do another show today for our
For Rainy City.
rainy city, which covers most of the Pacific Northwest.
And we're doing a solved one on there. Because we do a lot of, we've done a lot of unsolved. It's, I think, because cold cases are ones that need to be talked about,
Yes,
especially like little known ones. Because there's a lot of cold cases here in Washington, especially that like don't get media attention at all.
yeah. Well, I really like the show Cold Justice because it goes through a cold case, and then at the end of the show, they hopefully get, you know, people, they solve it. It doesn't always get solved. You
It's
know,
not one of my favorites. I've always been a cold case files person.
yes, there's always. So, well, let us know what you think about Amber's Alert,
Mhm.
and
I'm also curious.
what your state does.
Yeah, I'm curious about even other countries. Like, what do you guys do? But I'm curious about what you guys think about the theories.
Yeah. Uh, and if you think he's still alive, you think he ended up in jail. Well,
I think he went
the
over the
thing
border.
is, I think though, if he ended up, well, I don't know if they were doing CODIS way back then.
CODIS was established
So,
during Ridgeway.
yeah, which is,
I think it was Ridgeway when he.
yeah,
Um,
because not everybody that's in
well,
prison is in CODIS.
but also to something about CODIS is when CODIS was introduced. To enter DNA into CODIS, they had to go through the courts.
Yes.
It was actually really hard to get DNA into CODIS at the time.
Yes,
Um,
it definitely is. CODIS is not used like in our state. If you are charged with a felony, I think they automatically do your DNA. I know if you're convicted of a felony, they do it. I don't know if it's a misdemeanor here or what it is, but
CODIS is a combined DNA index system. Was founded in 1990 as a pilot software project by the FBI, which included 14 state and local laboratories. The system then became fully operational as a national DNA database in 1998 after the DNA Identification Act of 1994 formalized the FBI's authority to establish it for law enforcement purposes. So back then, to be able to run DNA through the FBI, you had to get court order. The FBI had to approve it, and it took forever.
okay. So this happened in 1998, but
No, nine.
no, I'm saying that happened in
Mm-hmm.
98, and she was killed in 96.
Yeah, it wasn't until 2003 where the national database was accepted by all 50 states.
Yes. So, and like I said, some states I think it's a misdemeanor, and some states it is a felony.
But to
I,
add DNA,
yes, and I think that it has to be. Some have to be convicted. Some have to be just charged. I don't think there's a full on thing across 50 states.
is whenever they take DNA from somebody in a police investigation.
Okay.
So it is Whenever, so it is crime scenes, biological evidence, blood, hair is collected and sent to forensics DNA lab for analysis. Law enforcement agencies collect biological samples typically via the cheek swab from individuals convicted of, arrested of, or facing charges for certain qualifying offenses.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. You have to be charged with like a felony.
Or you have to be like, yeah, you have to be charged with something.
All right. She's going down the rabbit hole right now.
When also non-U.S. citizens who are detained under the authority of the United States.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So it's 100% felony, but I
Yeah.
think it's I think the misdemeanor is like set. I think it just depends on the misdemeanor.
Yeah.
I don't foresee it though because they actually don't tell you in Washington State, which is kind
Yeah.
of interesting.
Yeah. I think
As I
that's a
just,
felony.
I know it's a
And
felony. I don't know about anything else.
yeah.
Which also, did you know that you can get a misdemeanor just for kidnapping?
Yeah.
Sorry, I learned a lot of things the other day.
A misdemeanor for kidnapping.
Yep.
Oh my god. Okay, throw the book at them and charge them with felony.
Yep.
So, okay. I think we're done for today, but let us know what you think about this one about the alert and what they do in your state, your country, or your province,
Or your township, because
or your township. Yes.
townships do still exist here.
Yeah,
Here
so
in
do in
village.
Louisiana, what do they call them?
Oh,
They call them parish.
parish.
Yes.
Did you know that there's still like villages in here in the United States?
Villages.
Villages.
Ah, okay.
Fun fact. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.